Francine reached out to me, so I have a YouTube channel where I clean up properties, and so this is just something I free that I do for the community. So I'm just going to spend a couple days here, clean this all up for you all. Let's try to avoid that for this one that we're cleaning up. I'm going to call the city, see what the story is on this one. But let's get this trash up for her and move on. Well, here we are, everyone, at the end of 2025. And I wanted to take a moment and reflect back on all we accomplished this year. When I look back on this year, what stands out isn't just the work.
A man gave up 20 years of a stable career just to pick up a lawnmower and clean up properties for free. Sean Stockman, the owner of the Midlife Stockman channel with more than 1 million followers, did exactly that.
All of that money is going to Riva. New roof, which you'll see today. We're doing siding, we're doing windows. She has new air conditioning. She could not be more thankful. This next part, it's all about some hand tools. Let me take you through what's going to get us through this sidewalk. First, we got the mattock. This is going to be amazing.
But behind hundreds of millions of views lies no picture-perfect success story. It is a journey marked by blood-close calls and the overwhelming psychological burden of confronting countless painful realities. What bitter secret ultimately pushed Sean into this demanding mission? What has the true cost of his choice been? Sean Stockman grew up in Michigan after spending his early years in Boston, Massachusetts. His childhood was shaped by family and the Christian faith passed down by his parents. But when he was just 10 years old, he lost his father to cancer. Sean later said that his father was only in his mid-30s when he died. Sean carried with him the feeling that his father's story could become his own. Watching a man die at such a young age made life expectancy something he became conscious of early on. Later he said that losing his father made him realize he had only one life and wanted his own story to unfold differently. That awareness of time and health continued to influence the choices he made as an adult. After the loss, the family had to continue their lives without their father. Sean grew up in circumstances that forced him to understand responsibility, hard work, and the value of taking care of necessary tasks himself at an early age. Those lessons would later be reflected in the way he approached hands-on work, from repairs to cleaning up neglected properties. Another person who later had a significant influence on Sean was his father-in-law. He became an important male role model after Sean lost his father. He passed on practical skills to Sean, including how to make repairs and handle hands-on work. Those seemingly simple skills would many years later become a direct part of the work Sean did through Midlife Stockman. Before he found his faith again, Sean went through a long period of questioning the beliefs he had grown up with. He has been open about the fact that his father's death shook his faith. This was not a change that happened over a short period of time, but an issue Sean carried with him into adulthood. That loss never disappeared. But Sean gradually chose to build a different life, a family of his own, and a stable enough career to make him believe he was on the right path. A stable life. After leaving Rochester College, Sean Stockman entered adulthood with a clearer sense of direction. It was at the college that he met Tessa, who would later become his wife. The two married in 2003, when Sean was 21, and Tessa was 18, and went on to build a family together over the years. By now, they have been married for 23 years and have 4 children. Their marriage became one of the most important foundations of Sean's life before he entered the world of YouTube. Sean and Tessa later had 4 children. The family lived in Michigan, where Sean continued building his career and taking on the responsibilities of a husband and father. Their oldest child is now 21, while the others have also reached new milestones in their lives. Before Midlife Stockman emerged, Sean already had experience in video production. He had previously filmed and edited wedding videos, developing skills related to cameras, editing, and visual storytelling. that work did not become his long-term career. Sean chose a more stable path to provide for his family. He then spent more than 2 decades working in corporate America, primarily in purchasing. The job brought Sean into large companies and gave him opportunities to travel for work. It was a stable career that provided an income to support his family and gave him a relatively secure life. For many years, it was the path Sean believed he should continue following. But stability did not necessarily mean satisfaction. As the years of work continued, Sean began to feel increasingly tired of the corporate environment. He continued fulfilling his responsibilities and providing for his family, but his sense of connection to the job was no longer the same. The change developed gradually over time. One of the clearest signs appeared outside working hours. After stressful days at work, Sean began turning to lawn mowing videos to relax. Tessa once caught her husband watching those videos and asked what he was watching. For Sean, seeing an overgrown property transformed into a clean space created a sense of satisfaction that his office job no longer provided. That interest gradually combined with a growing preference for hands-on work. Sean began to realize that repairing things, cleaning up spaces, and watching an area change gave him a different sense of satisfaction from office work. These experiences had not become a new career, but they were gradually opening a path he had never expected to take. Sean maintained a routine of exercise, running, and other physical activities. These habits would later become important when his new work required him to spend more time outdoors and rely heavily on his physical strength. In his corporate job, Sean began recognizing the gap between what he was doing and what truly motivated him. He has described these feelings in terms of burnout and imposter syndrome. Even so, he still had no immediate reason to leave. His family income and responsibilities made stability the practical choice. After more than 2 decades in a stable career, an option that had seemed suitable only for weekends began to make Sean look at his life in an entirely different way. The day everything changed in 2020, Sean Stockman began using his time outside of work to help neighbors deal with neglected properties and overgrown lawns. At first, this was not a media project or a business plan. Sean simply wanted to do practical work, get more exercise, and make a visible difference in places that had fallen into disrepair. That idea gradually developed into its own approach. Sean did not set out to make every property perfect. He focused on making each one better than it was when he arrived. That philosophy later became a phrase associated with the Midlife Stockman brand, not perfect, but better. It also became a principle applied to many of the projects he took on. One of the important turning points came when Sean encountered an abandoned preschool in Detroit. The property was covered in overgrown vegetation and had been left unattended. He began pulling weeds by hand, then returned with tools to continue the cleanup. At first, there was no production crew or professional equipment involved, and most of the work was recorded with simple tools. Sean decided to film the process and share it on YouTube. He used a phone, an inexpensive tripod, and basic editing tools. His previous experience making videos allowed him to handle the filming and editing himself. This approach gave Sean control over the entire production without needing a team behind him. On July 30th, 2023, the first Midlife Stockman video was uploaded. The video focused on Sean cleaning up a neglected property. According to comments he shared later, the video quickly attracted around 13,000 views, far beyond the scale Sean had expected when he started filming. The audience response showed that viewers were interested in more than seeing a lawn get cut. Comments and views focused on the transformation of the property, while also showing curiosity about the stories behind the places Sean visited. This gradually shaped the way he developed the content in subsequent videos. The name Midlife Stockman also reflected the goal Sean wanted to pursue. He did not view midlife simply as a crisis. Instead, he saw it as a time when he could begin a new mission and use the skills he had accumulated to create a different kind of value. During the early days, Sean continued working his corporate job. His schedule was fairly structured. He handled the cleanup work himself on weekends, then spent much of Sunday editing videos and preparing content. The new work, therefore, existed alongside his main career, rather than immediately replacing the income that supported his family. The properties Sean visited were mainly located in communities across Michigan, particularly around Detroit and Pontiac. He helped cut grass, clear vegetation, and remove trash without charging a fee. Some cases involved elderly or disabled residents who were unable to handle physically demanding tasks on their own. What made Sean's content different was the time he often spent talking with property owners while working. Stories about family circumstances, age, or personal hardships became part of the videos. As a result, the final product was not simply a cleaner property, but also a story about the person living behind it. The channel continued to grow as viewers shared videos showing the properties before and after Sean completed his work. By the middle of 2023, Midlife Stockman had passed the 10,000 subscriber mark. The number was still small compared with the channel's later scale, but it showed that a weekend activity was beginning to develop its own audience community. Those weekend cleanups had started as nothing more than an after-hours activity. As the number of followers grew rapidly, Midlife Stockman was no longer simply a hobby, and Sean was forced to confront a difficult choice. The Big Leap. In September 2024, Sean officially left corporate America and began working on Midlife Stockman full-time. He received support from his former company, including severance. Sean later described the decision as a frightening step because, for the first time, he was no longer relying on a conventional job to provide a fixed source of income for his family. Tessa also played an important role in that decision. She had watched Midlife Stockman from its earliest days, when Sean spent his weekends mowing lawns and filming videos. Moving into full-time work, therefore, was not a change that came as a complete surprise to the family. The responsibility of raising 4 children still made it a practical financial risk. After leaving his job, Sean had to take on more responsibilities himself. He handled the projects directly while also filming, editing, and managing the channel's operations. Physical labor became a regular part of his life. Mowing lawns, clearing vegetation, hauling debris, and making repairs required more physical effort than his previous office career. In return, Midlife Stockman grew rapidly. In March 2025, the Studio Sherpas podcast featured Sean when the channel had already passed roughly 600,000 subscribers. Only a few months later, the number continued to rise sharply. By July, WDIV reported that the channel had surpassed 800,000 subscribers, making Sean a prominent figure in Detroit's YouTube community. The growth did not come solely from before and after lawn transformations. The videos focused on the circumstances of the people Sean met and the reasons they needed help. Viewers followed the process from the moment a neglected property was approached until the work was completed. This model gradually turned Midlife Stockman into a community-focused storytelling channel. Sean also began expanding his activities beyond directly cleaning properties. The official Midlife Stockman website, merchandise, community content, and commercial partnerships provided additional resources for the brand. More importantly, viewers began participating directly in projects by contributing and supporting people who needed assistance. One notable example involved fundraising campaigns for families facing difficult circumstances. In one case shared by Sean, the community raised a significant amount of money to help repair the home of a mother with 3 children. These efforts showed that Midlife Stockman had grown beyond a YouTube channel focused on lawn care. By the end of the year, Midlife Stockman was approaching the 1 million subscriber mark. In 2026, the channel continued expanding its reach and connecting with more people in need. Sean was no longer appearing simply as someone mowing a neighbor's lawn. but as a person connecting those who needed help with a community willing to provide it. That success also brought another responsibility. Sean's work depended directly on his own physical ability. If he were injured or experienced a health problem, he would not only lose his ability to carry out projects, but could also face difficulties producing content. This was a completely different kind of risk from the office career he had once known. And it was the incidents that occurred while he was working alone that would reveal the true cost of the path Sean had chosen. The true cost. After switching to Midlife Stockman full-time, Sean Stockman not only had to maintain an ever-growing volume of content, but also face the risks of outdoor work. Most projects took place on neglected properties, sometimes with little support, and no fixed working environment. One notable incident occurred while Sean was working on a project in Detroit. Even though the property owner had given him permission, someone believed he was trespassing and called the police. Sean later described it as a very tense situation and one of the times when he felt he had come close to danger. Situations like this showed that Midlife Stockman's work was not simply about mowing a lawn and leaving. Sean had to visit unfamiliar locations, operate machinery for extended periods, and deal with unpredictable circumstances. When working alone, any incident could become serious without someone nearby to provide immediate assistance. There were also material risks. In 2025, some of Sean's work equipment was taken, including a leaf blower. The incident was featured on the channel and showed the practical difficulties behind videos that can appear simple on screen. For someone doing the work himself, equipment is both property and an essential tool for earning a living. At the beginning of 2026, Sean faced a more serious incident involving his health. While working with a chainsaw, the machine caught against his pants. Sean became dizzy and fainted, then called Tessa and was taken to the emergency room for evaluation. This was the first time he had reported fainting while working. The incident was particularly significant because Sean had spoken repeatedly about the importance of health. His father died of cancer when Sean was only 10, making longevity and physical well-being important parts of how he views life. His current work also requires him to rely heavily on his own physical strength. Meanwhile, Midlife Stockman continued to grow. In May, Sean announced that the channel had reached 1 million subscribers and organized a giveaway to mark the milestone. By June 3rd, he said more than 12,000 people had participated. The response showed that the channel had developed a large community rather than simply attracting viewers. As the channel expanded, Sean's work equipment also became increasingly important. The official Midlife Stockman website lists tools including a commercial zero-turn mower, walk-behind mower chainsaw, and leaf blower. These machines are used directly in projects to clean up and restore neglected properties. The scale of the equipment is significantly different from the early days when Sean mainly filmed with a phone, an inexpensive tripod, and handled the editing himself. Midlife Stockman now accepts nominations from the community and selects suitable cases to support. The machinery has therefore become part of a larger community operation rather than simply personal equipment. There is no reliable public source confirming the total value of Sean's personal assets, including his home vehicles, savings, or investments. Some third-party websites provide net worth estimates, but those figures are not based on financial records publicly disclosed by Sean. They should therefore not be treated as official asset values. The strength of the community has also been demonstrated through direct support campaigns. One case involved Riva, who needed significant repairs to her home. The Midlife Stockman community contributed more than $50,000 helping fund multiple projects, including the roof, windows, siding, and air conditioning system. In an August 16, 2026 update, Sean said Riva's roof had been completed. After a storm in Michigan, she could remain in her home without worrying about rainwater continuing to leak inside. Several other projects were still underway, showing how viewer contributions could produce tangible results. Also in August, Sean introduced Ms. Faye, 72. The video explained that she had been unable to leave her home for nearly 3 years. It was one of the newest Midlife Stockman videos and continued the channel's focus on people who needed direct assistance. Around the same time, Sean said he was discussing a potential partnership with Toro and the possibility of bringing a dingo mini skid steer into Midlife Stockman's operations. He emphasized that it remained a discussion, not an official agreement. If successful, the equipment could help him handle larger projects and expand his work. Sean Stockman cannot change what happened when he was 10, nor reclaim the years spent in a job that gradually left him burned out. He can choose how to live the rest of his life. From a decision beside an abandoned property, Sean built Midlife Stockman into a community of more than 1 million people. His journey is still not over. If you want to continue following the people, properties, and decisions that shaped Sean's life, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share this video so you do not miss the next stories.